Hello, welcome to the Love Language Leadership Summit. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm very excited about our guest today. I am Shannon Wooten, and with me today I have International Coaching Federation and Accomplishment Coaching Certified Life Coach and Leadership Coach, trained yoga and meditation leader, including business owner of Relax Already, which is, I'm saying in my best Sarah Olin, Relax Already, which includes clients such as UNICEF, Girl Scouts of America, and many more. She's a wife, mother, and host of the Luscious Mother retreat, and mentor coach for Accomplishment Coaching Training Program and the United Nations. She is the woman who reflected to me that I am a coach, and I always have been a coach. She is my mentor and somebody that I love and respect greatly and call a friend. Thank you for being here, Sarah Olin.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And I will say the only thing, all my bios are super outdated on my websites. So I am a program leader for Accomplishment Coaching. I only did 1 year of mentoring many years ago.
Amazing. And just a little backstory for everybody that's listening. I've been doing a little bit of here's why this person is here. And if you have missed the very first, whether you're tuning in on YouTube or you're listening to this in some audio format, go back, and I strongly invite you to go back and listen to the very first day of the Love Language Leadership Summit. But every single person that I have asked and has graciously said yes to be a part of this has in some way, shape, or form greatly impacted my life. And yes, I did go to your website and did, Google you, if you will, for the introduction for this. But yeah, Sarah is correct. She is the program leader, one of the program leaders for Accomplishment Coaching, which I shared or have shared, depending upon which order you're listening to these summits, in my discussion with Mark Hunter, that she is a program leader. In fact, she was a program leader when I went through my 12 months of coaching and training in the program. And like I said in her introduction, a huge reason as to why I asked Sarah to be here is because she has been influential in my life. When I first decided or thought about toying around with the idea of being a coach, it was not something that I welcomed with open arms. It was actually something that scared the crap out of me. I didn't really know what it meant to be a coach. And our initial conversation was one that Sarah and I had no idea who each other was. And she just explained to me what the facets of being a coach meant. And I think it was 12 or 16 months later, I actually came back around and allowed myself to receive her reflection of me, which is a part of, self-growth and transformation, ultimately a part of coaching, which we both are as well. And was willing to allow myself to see me through her eyes. And this is Sarah's gift. She has, in my opinion, one of her gifts rather, has this innate, beautiful capability of seeing people with an unfiltered, uninhibited amount of love, but also tenacity and drive and vigor for other people to own that part of themselves. So I couldn't imagine not having her be here, because she showed me such, without even knowing me, such tremendous amount of love and respect for who she thought I could be and the potentiality of myself and my gifts. So of course, whether you're watching this or you're listening to this, I had to have her be here and give that gift of herself. She just did organically to all of you.
Thank you. It's a thrill and an honor, and it's, meeting you and getting to know you. It's so clear who you are, and it's just part of you. So it wasn't hard to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Every one of these I cry. Okay. Just say that first and foremost. Every single time I do one of the interviews for this, I cry. And it's actually the impetus of why I wanted to do the love language of leadership, because I think that we have this idea of love, and that as I learned from Sarah, it's an either or. It's not a both and it's an either or sometimes for us, in terms of you get to be loving and soft and vulnerable and open but you can't be strong and demonstrative and brilliant and aggressive in your intellect and your own sovereignty at the same time. And so this is a great reason as to why I wanted to do the love language of leadership, because I believe it gets to be in both ends.
For sure.
Wonderful. So my first question for you today, in the spirit of that both and, is what made you say yes to this?
Oh, to this conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah. What made me say yes is you
Mm.
and your commitment in the world and your vision and how much you love people. So I thought I could learn and share what I've learned. And to me, everything is about partnership and learning. And you never know when you say something or you hear something that's going to truly change your life. So this is just one more opportunity, but really it's for you. I'd do anything for you. So this was, small beans. And I think it's such an important conversation. We all need more love, and we all need to understand ourselves as leaders if we're going to make a difference in the world.
So thank you for that. Just thank you. Thank you for being you. I love you so much. You know that. But so in respect to what you're mentioning there, though, as people, we all need love. And as leaders, we need to be almost diligent and champions of, I feel, carrying that through to the world. So in respect to that, what does love mean to you?
Oh, love to me is about joy, connection. It's really about gratitude. It's about God. It's play and hugs and scrumminess and just like that. Love is so important to me because I can't do my work unless I love someone. I've got to love somebody before I can work with them. And I've tried a handful of times to work with people that I don't love, and it's not very successful.
So I feel that what you're saying is so important, and I'm going to assert myself here into what I'm hearing you say, which is that love has a lot to do about listening. And I think it's so fascinating because when we are in the presence of love and when we want love, I think for the most part, we're looking for it to come from somewhere external. Right? So listening to what the other person is willing to give us, listening to what the other person's needs are in conjunction with our needs. Is there a marriage there, a harmony there, right? And what you're saying is like, can I show up and be in full love with another person? And I've tried it, and if I'm not, it doesn't work. So the other part that I hear you saying too is it's about listening, not just for what we're going to get out of it or whether or not it's going to work, but to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, for me, love just is, like oxygen. And are we tapping into it or not? Are we allowing it or not? Are we listening for it? Are we looking for it? Are we creating it? Are we flowing with it? So
So what would you say then to somebody who's listening to this now or watching us now and has seen you do like, the ooey gooey, like hug yourself and like it's everywhere, it just is. So what would you then say to somebody right now who feels that just is not seemingly or readily accessible and present in their life?
Yeah, I would start with what is working and what they can love, right? It's an inside job. It starts with us, right? So what can you love? Whether it's a meal or an inanimate object or you or a film, how can you start to generate it? And if you start to relate to it as your responsibility and something that you have power over, then it starts to shift the experience. So I would say if you don't have the experience of it, why aren't you creating it? Right? I would just get really curious because it's not, again, it doesn't happen to you. It's just there. But you've got to be willing to see it and be open to it.
Yeah, it's like has that all the flavor of like a buffet of like you know what's out there, you can see it. Like, and if love's on the buffet and you're not serving yourself a heaping spoonful of it, then don't go back to the table and be like, I didn't get any. Like it was there.
Yeah.
It was for you to take, but you elected not to. And I love that you said it's a responsibility. So with regards to love, what's the responsibility then?
Exactly. Well, it belongs with the individual.
Mm. Yes. And I think when people hear responsibility, sometimes there's almost this visceral response of like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
And their response is to try and defend themselves.
Yeah. And actually, in the true sense of responsibility, it's where all the power lives. Because if you're not giving me enough love, or my husband's not giving me enough love, it's just happening to me and sucks to be me. Versus if I'm responsible for creating it, I'm responsible for giving it also.
Mm. So good. So good. Because then it becomes what I have or what I don't have rests at my feet.
Yeah, and I was talking to a client earlier, and she was saying she wants more softness, understanding, and comfort from her husband. And she said, you know what? I haven't been very understanding, soft, or comforting to him. I'm like, you think?
Ah!
Right. So you've got to practice giving what you want to receive
Mm.
in a
Yeah.
relationship or anywhere in order to have a new experience. And that's on me. And not from, I'm a bad girl, from, wow, I get to create this. I get to have this experience.
Right. And it's a humbling perspective too. It's like looking in the mirror and being like, no matter how much makeup I put on this pimple, I can still see the pimple. So either I change reframe my perspective and my awareness of what the pimple actually, means, or I'm just going to continue thinking about myself all day long as like, I'm an ogre who has a giant pimple on their face. I can't possibly have any sort of flaw, or it all begins with you. Like, how are you receiving yourself? How are you receiving your reflection? So I love that because again, going back to responsibility, it has such a negative connotation sometimes where it feels really heavy.
Totally.
And I mean, curious about your perspective, but I find that when I'm working with clients and they're taking on the act of being responsible, there is almost this ducking cover of what am I going to unearth? And if they feel there's an absence of love in their lives, then they almost start looking out at everybody else in their lives as to why aren't you giving me the thing that I need, without looking at giving me the thing that I need means that this starts with you.
Yeah.
So in tandem with that, then I'm curious, what does love mean to you about other people?
I mean, I think it's the same. And part of it is, can I receive it? Am I willing? Am I open to it when it comes to others?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because again, if it just is, then what's my relationship to it and all that? It's so unique, right? With the responsibility conversation. Um, for me, when I think about taking responsibility, it makes me so happy because, like, yes, now I'm in power. Now I'm in the power position where I
Mm.
can actually do something to impact, and if it's out there or someone else has to be different, it's just such dangerous territory and
Mm.
not very effective.
Mm.
So with others, I practice giving what I want to get. It's so easy in marriage and relationship. He's not this, he's not that, he's always on his phone. I'm like, well, am I always on my phone? Yes. I'm on,
Yeah.
right? So it's just, but it takes something. Not everyone is trained in this or, has the understanding of what it can be. It seems really real. So it can be tough. And I think the first step is willingness to see it different or to be different ourselves, to not be right about our interpretation.
Wow. Sarah, this is so good and actually reminds me of I hope it's okay. I'm going to say this. If not, then we'll talk about it after. But in my coach training program, first and foremost, I'm completely in full on in agreement with you that self-responsibility is a gateway to love, and vice versa. Love is a gateway to self-responsibility. And whichever breadcrumb you put first, if it's I want to take on self-responsibility so as to access love, or I want to take on love so as to access self-responsibility, I don't think it makes much of a difference. That's just my take on it. But I love that the end result, if you, for all the logical, very masculine, strategic people and thinkers out there who are like, love is basically short circuiting me right now, this is too a frou-frou topic for me. Consider it that as a math equation, right? As you just put it, whichever form that you're accessing it, love plus self-responsibility equals power, or self-responsibility plus love equals power. Whatever it is, that power actually rests and resides in you, because you get to say how it goes.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's so cool. It's so liberating. It makes me want to, I actually talked about this in one of the other interviews that I was doing. It reminds me of being like, they're typically outside of like car dealerships. They're those little like flimsy, they wave their arms in the air. Like, yeah, like they're like yellow or whatever. That's what it reminds me of. That access to freedom is like just letting your body have such movement, and is ironic because, I know you train and teach on Kundalini, and that's what Kundalini reminds me of. It's creating spaciousness and room for something new, or energy in your body, by utilizing energy and spaciousness and movement to create those things for yourself. So I think that is such a fruitful point. But going back to what I was going to share, of you being at cause and you being responsible for your life, is in our coach training program, Sarah actually shared a story once, and the story literally flipped me on my head like I was a top. I was like, what in the actual fuck? Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do this. Obviously fighting all my self-defense mechanisms. How am I worthy of love? Validating myself, all that shit. So Sarah shared this story of talking with a client once, and she said that the client, you can correct any part of this I get incorrect.
Sure.
The client was expressing for her, or somebody was expressing to you, that they were unsatisfied in the relationship with their family. And one of the aspects was, when it's their birthday, they want their family to be like, this is a big to do. It's your birthday. Like, woo, you're amazing. You're my child. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
And we're getting extremely let down and disappointed, and just circling the toilet bowl with that story of like, they don't care about me. I'm not enough. And because they don't care about me, I obviously am right. I'm right that I am not worthy. I'm not worthy of love. Layer. And that you offered to them, or in this conversation said, well, what if you got to be at cause? And what if you got to call them and be like, you're welcome. It's my birthday. I'm amazing. And I know you feel that way. And they got to be responsible for their reception of love and celebration.
Yeah. So,
okay.
This is fantastic. It wasn't a client. It's my brother and my dad and me.
Oh, yes, even better.
Even better. So every year my brother is upset because my father doesn't call him on his birthday. And my dad doesn't have a calendar. He doesn't have a smartphone. He doesn't call anyone on his birthday. And if there's one thing I know in the world, is that my dad loves me, my sister, and my brother. He loves us. Mm-hmm. And remembering our birthdays is not his specialty. So I call my dad every year on my birthday and say, guess what today is? And he's like, what? I'm like, the best day of your life. The day I was born. He's like, I was just going to call you. I'm like, yeah, you were just about to call me. But it's, it doesn't, things don't have to mean things. Mm-hmm. We're, as humans, we're meaning making machines, of course, but we get to decide, and trusting someone and loving them how they are versus not how we want them to be. Mm-hmm. For my 40th birthday, it was really important that my dad come to Charlotte. He had never been. We had been living here for 4 years, and I bought him and his wife plane tickets. I spoke to my stepmother because she's kind of running the show.
Yeah.
So I had to get her on board, and it was fabulous. We all had a great time.
Yeah.
So, but I could have been, well, I'm going to wait and see if dad really loves me, if he's going to get a plane ticket and come, or like, no, I really want him to be here. Let's do this thing. And it was amazing. So it's deciding who do we want to be in relationship. And I think my brother has since handled the scandal, but it's like, bro, literally, bro, it's a setup. You're setting yourself up to be upset when you don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to mean anything. You know, dad, you know, he loves you, and you know, birthday, you know, that it's not his thing. It's not malicious, you know, and if you want to be at cause for it. I remember one year when my parents divorced when I was about 12. So I was a very high maintenance teenager. I remember making a list of all these things I wanted my father to get me. A John Steinbeck book, all this weird stuff that he would never, I mean, he probably gave us cash back then. I don't even know, but he had everything on the list because I was very like, dad, you need to do this. Really asking for what I needed and wanted.
Yeah.
Versus allowing myself to be set up for disappointment.
Mm. Yeah, and it has all the flavor and the energy of be responsible, be a champion for your cause.
Yeah.
And I knew, you know, I knew I was going to get this out of you, which I'm so grateful for, because you have this beautiful way of bringing such love and honesty to a conversation with also like, I'm not afraid to pull out my very stylish and fashionable boots and give you a swift kick in the behind about how to do that. And this rip the Band-Aid approach off of, if you want love in your life, then why the hell aren't you giving it to yourself? And that's not just in response to who you are when you're cuddled up on your couch watching Netflix and chick flicks and allowing yourself to just be immersed and blanketed in, you know, all the ooey gooey goodness of like a romantic comedy, or, you know, going and doing yoga and celebrating yourself for allowing yourself to receive that. It also is in direct correlation too with who you are in relationship. And the boundaries and the standards and the expectations you have for yourself is also with an understanding and flexibility of other people and their own sovereignty and what they need, and having awareness and taking responsibility for that. I love it.
It's super cool. Yeah.
It is very, I feel like it is very cool, and I feel like people get intimidated by it. And I'm, you know, obviously offer your opinion here, but I feel like people get intimidated by asserting themselves with love, and stating what it is that they need, and feeling infringement upon other people's own boundaries and standards and expectations. But you know, Randy Pausch, who wrote the last lecture, he says like you'll never know unless you ask. You'll never know unless you put into practice the things that you want in your life. And as you pointed out, you know, we're very I guess, awake to this work and the process of the discomfort that occurs when you are challenging yourself to be different.
Yeah.
And that I mean, so interested in hearing your response to this, but I just don't think that you can be radically and compassionately responsible for the way your life turns out without having love for yourself.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think self-love, we have a complicated relationship to the notion of it because it means different things to different people.
Mm-hmm.
I have a new client, it's been a few months now actually, but she will say, you know, all the time, I don't love myself. And it's weird because everything that she does and how she's created her life reflects a tremendous amount of self-respect and self-love. And we've talked about it, and she's like, you're right. I hadn't thought about it that way. She's super financially successful. She has a beautiful home. She wears beautiful clothes. She does her hair. She really takes care of her well-being. She takes really great care of herself. So
Mhm.
all things that say self-love and self-respect. Yet I think sometimes we have this magical idea that self-love means a perfect relationship to self, versus every relationship in the world, it's complicated. Right? Every relationship has shit, including our relationship to ourselves. So to think that self-love is only one way, or 100% game, or I feel it 24/7. No,
Yeah.
it's not like that. But it's, so I think that that's where I see people getting hung up, is that we have this weird idea of what it is, and
Mhm.
what our life would be, or what it would be like if we did have that thing called self-love.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's almost like when we entertain an idea, we decide that there's only one way,
sure. Yeah.
and or we're observing like our mentors or people that inspire us and motivate us, and we look at their trajectory to what we are deciding is the truth of what we're ingesting. And whether it's that way or not, right, every single one of us, as you said, even Oprah, we've all had shit in our lives that on the path to self-love has felt like, ugh, this doesn't feel great. And we have to retool, readjust, and recount our steps, and sometimes backtrack, and then before we go forward, whatever it looks like. We all have this perception of what it needs to look like, and it's not just self-love. I think it's everything.
Every,
um, yeah, and if it doesn't go that way, as you always say, sometimes we get caught up in the drama du jour with ourselves of like, well, shit, it's over now. I failed. I can't have any deviation other than what I have fantasized or convinced myself needs to occur.
right.
Totally.
Yeah. So we get to say, what is it to me? Today it looks one way. Tomorrow it might look different.
So good. So good. The curiosity and the rediscovery of an individual is also a part of self-responsibility.
For sure.
Love it. So how does then love influence who you are in your business?
Ah, yeah, I think it's the undercover thing. My business is a lot of women. Not to say that I don't have male clients. I actually have 3 right now, all at the same time, which might be the most that I've ever had at once. I don't know. I remember when I was my second year of coaching, my coaching bestie, Nelson, said, you need to coach a dude just to see what it's like. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then I started here and there working with some men. Um, but with women and moms, there's, they give so much love, and it's such a natural state. And what I see for them is getting to have more for them, getting to experience it more, having more joy and satisfaction versus stress, worry, like that. Um, so that's the thing that I see for moms and women, loving their lives.
Mm-hmm.
If moms love their lives, their kids are like 90% guaranteed going to have a great life.
Yeah.
And if they don't, it's also going to have an impact,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything has consequences. So it's kind of my way of healing the world or making the world a better place is through the lens of mother, because they're often the nucleus of the family. They're,
Mm-hmm.
the woman is holding the space and creating the energy. And you know, I think, who says happy wife, happy life? Is that a Chinese proverb or something?
I have no idea, but yes.
Something. But it's that sort of thing where, no offense to the men in the room,
Right.
but that the women, you know, if I come home and Matt says, "How are you?" and I say, "I'm so great," he's like, "Ooh, tell me more." Or Mirabelle too. I'm gonna really create the tone,
Yeah.
while they impact it also, but it's a different conversation because we're the creators in many ways. So it's just, yeah, it's just, how do we as mothers and women access more love, have the experience, love our lives so that everyone around us can too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. I have male clients as well. I love coaching humans, period. And this is for all you men listening. This is not to say that we don't receive you as nurturers and that you don't have the capacity to love and none of that. But what I hear you saying actually brings us full circle back to what love means to you. And what I hear in this is, yes, it's a responsibility, but it also is a direct reflection of everything that is surrounding your general circumference in your life. And for mothers, that is this nurture nucleus of the family, who how they hold themselves and they conduct themselves from this nurturing space is also a direct reflection of how their families respond. And that is for me, what I hear for you is like your soul purpose. Like your spirit is all invested in that. And I have so many curiosities of, how you came to this conclusion as to this is your purpose. Very recently, I was listening to Oprah and a women's conference that she was speaking at, and the thought that she left the entire room with, and I actually just got full body goosebumps just thinking about it because it's so important, I think, is that if you don't know what your purpose in life is right now, as sure as you're sitting here, you need to make it your job to go and figure it out. And if you can't figure it out an hour from now, you can't figure it out by the end of this day, you need to figure it out every single day because you have a job on this planet and it is for you to self-actualize, to fulfill your purpose, to do the thing that makes your body have ease and flow and feel, as Sarah was describing at the beginning, like you're hugging yourself, ooey gooey gumdrops. Like, well, we're going to have those shitty moments where it feels like we're stuck in quicksand and like everything is fucked up and falling down around us. But it's our responsibility to get back up, pull ourselves back together because we all deserve that self-love. And because who we are inside ourselves is a reverberation of what we're experiencing in our reality.
Agreed. Yeah, I think yeah, totally agree. It's amazing.
I love it so much. So now that everybody is like, okay, I am ready to take on love with Sarah Olin and look at her face, like, oh my God, in this way that is equal parts empathetic and compassionate and a champion, but also a swift kick in the behind because damn it, it's your life. Freaking love yourself already. What do you have going on? Where can people find you? How can they work with you?
That's a great question. So I'm very excited. In January, I'm hosting the 5th ever Luscious Mother retreat in Durham, North Carolina, which it's one of the most special things that I do. Women really have an incredible experience. I have a group coaching program for women starting in February that I'm accepting registration for.
What does that mean? A group coaching program? What is it?
It's an online program for women. It will be 5 women, 3 90-minute calls a month, and it's all about moving your life forward. What's so cool about the group coaching is that it's an unbelievably supportive container for, I always tell people if they're interested in coaching, there are 2 ways that I work with people. One is in the group model and one is in the individual. And I have people look at what's the breakthrough. For some people, it's really having something that's for them, where they're really taking the time for themselves. And for other, it's being in community, it's getting supported, it's being seen, it's being vulnerable. So the group is the opportunity to get mad love and support. You want to talk about love? These calls, they happen on Zoom just like this, and there's 5 or 6 of us on the call, and it's like love beams coming at you, and you can say anything, and everyone just has your back
Mm-hmm.
and wants the best for you. It's not that no one will challenge you or ask you hard questions, but it's just love, 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 love.
Mm.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So the retreat and the group coaching, and I haven't planned anything around this yet, but next week I'm going to Texas to do Brene Brown's training.
Woo!
Her leadership training. Talk about love.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime in 2020, I'll be offering, if you follow me on Instagram at Sarah Olin, I think it's Sarah Olin Coaching. I don't even know.
I'm like, yes, I can confirm that for you.
You can confirm. I'll be announcing it there when I'll be hosting Dare to Lead for people in Charlotte to come and learn these amazing tools from Brene Brown.
Wow. Okay, so I'll be there.
Oh, girl,
This is a firm commitment, a firm yes. And so they can find you on Instagram at Sarah Olin Coaching, and anywhere else that they can look you up.
Sure, lusciousmother.com. You can go to saraholin.com. Very, very outdated. saraholincoaching.com. Relax Already might even be up still. I don't know. I have many businesses, and every once in a while I'll teach a meditation. It's such a treat.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you with my whole self for being here. I love you, and you are just a light in my life.
Oh, thank you. Mega dittos. You're a light in mine and in so many, and I'm so grateful to be here. It is a joy to be with you.
Mm. And a big thank you to you, the audience, for joining us in whatever capacity. See the show notes for a special freebie from me if you're tuning in via YouTube, and for today's Sarah's guest links on how to connect with her. And because love is meant to be shared, and sharing is caring, if you loved this conversation, if something in it stood out for you, was impactful for you, and in any way, shape, or form you feel like you may want to share it with somebody that it might be impactful with as well, please feel free to share this content with a friend, or message us at the links that are going to be posted below in either the Audible show notes or on YouTube. Directly contact us with any of your questions. Otherwise, thank you for stopping by. Be good to yourself for fuck's sake, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.